society. What's the reality of life for Lao Beijing in mainland China today under the rule of the Beijing thugs, ma'am?
It has been a living hell for 70 years plus. So this is exactly why. So we have to look beyond the reason and understanding the playbook. And this is, we always refer the CCP as a paper tiger. And I think everybody agrees with that. They are. Okay, but how did they resurrect so many times from near-death situation? Is they understand their best weapon and they played it perfectly. And this is why I want the audience of the Warren Posse remember it. And their goal, whenever they're doing, and I will lay this with another historical lessons today, just like we share about the June 4th yesterday, and then connected with the first Donald Trump, President Trump's first term and the second term. And then hopefully I can use 10 minutes to explain that. So their playbook, nothing more than sow discord, create division, and fueling the hatred. Okay, only these three, their weapons. So the paper tiger not only sustained themselves over those decades, but also rise, becoming the most powerful, the most even force in the world. Give you a lesson because we can remember the Chinese people not being able to tell their story. It's very sad. The nation has been weeping for decades. One story I want you to hear loud and clear today. A lot of your audience is well versed in history, particularly those history dates back to 1930 all the way to the Civil War, which there's two parties in China at that time. When you look at the power disparity between the Nationalist Party and the CCP back in 1930s all the way to 1948, the gap between them is so vast, and it's the same gap as you compare with the US back in 1989 versus the CCP at that time. Okay, their power disparity, not even close. But how did such a small group of cultish communist party established by Mao successfully not only use the Kuomintang National Party army fighting the foreign invader Japan, but also fueling the hatred from the Chinese people towards the true hero, which is the National Party. Guess how many soldiers from the CCP died fighting the 8 years of Japanese invader? 800. How many of them died from the Nationalist Party? But why the Chinese people did not vote for Nationalist Party? You have to understand what forces are playing here. How did the CCP play their book that basically turning the conflict wide open between the Nationalist Party and Japanese invaders, okay? And successfully using the fake propaganda, fake information like we shared with you yesterday, like June 4th, how they played the students, how they played the students' representative, how they played the Chinese people, how they played everybody, including their own soldiers, to resurrect from a near-death situation back in 1989. Western politicians at that time thinking this whole national-wide student movement would bring down the CCP because 500,000 of the 10 million students are in this. And the entire society of China supporting the students and asking demand for political reform. But they surprisingly turned around and say, hey, we are the legitimate government. Again, they pulled the same playbook, again, in the Nationalist Party. So that's why Chiang Kai-shek, a Nationalist Party, didn't win China. CCP did. And guess what? How did they do that? How did they achieve the goal that I just said? Simple. Infiltration, propaganda, fake news, which you called narrative war, informational warfare, aiming at shaping your reality. Okay, so this is why Chris mentioning why they create the fake story. Oh, there is a purpose and perfect purpose. And let me connect it with you what's happening in the United States right now. You are not paying attention. They excelled at this. Look at the first Trump term. What happened? United States today have ever been infiltrated like this severe by the CCP in history of 250 years. Look at your media, look at your legal system, look at your intel community, look at Wall Street, look at your economic sector. Just like the infiltrated Nationalist Party, the highest level, the closest secretary, the personal assistant of Chiang Kai-shek is a member of the CCP. Okay, this is how they took nationalist party. That's how they sold the division, feeling the hatred. Okay, so this is in the Trump term. Who they hate the most? We shared with Warren Policy the other day. The CCP hates you. They hate President Trump. They hate Peter Navarro, Rudy Giuliani, and Miles Guo the most. But they have very successfully turning their most hated individuals into those individuals of the most hated. For who? For Biden, Hunter Biden, and those extreme Democrats. So now, if Biden or Hunter Biden is calling Xi Jinping is going to answer the phone so enthusiastically and cheerfully. Why? Because under Biden regime, you had imported over 10 million refugees, okay? Illegal immigrants. Think about the discord that's going to sow. Think about the division that's going to create. Think about the hatred, the tension, the divide that's going to create. And you're still dealing with the aftermath. You are catching up. And they managed to send 4 of you, almost all of you, the name that I just named out, into jail. Like, you stayed 4 months in jail. Peter Navarro did too. And look at Giuliani and look at Miles Guo. He is still in jail today. They almost knocked down Trump. But look at the second term. Did we learn? Did American learn? Did MAGA learn? So we can tell you CCP right now is orchestrating a global drama aiming at turning the US, Europe, and the rest of the world hating Trump. They're making great progress. The same playbook they did decades ago, they're playing it again. And look at what they're doing behind the scenes. On the other day, I showed you the Never Kneel propaganda video that CCP did, and you commented on the Black Hands of Arts, right? They're black artists of the CCP. What the message they're sending to the world? They're calling Trump bully. They're playing a victim role. They're saying Trump is the guy that destroyed the World Trade Order unilaterally. Okay, they're calling Trump is disruptive and dictator and tyranny. And they're saying all of you, Rubio, the new Trump administration person, are anti-China. Just like they did back in 1989, they tell that the students are anti-China. The foreign forces behind the students are anti-China. They are meantime infiltrating you all over the place.
Ava, hang on for 1 second. We're taking a short commercial break.